Hello, everybody. I am Meredith. Welcome back to another episode of the Apex F1 podcast. I am joined by my co-hosts today, Josh and Paul. Josh, how are you today?
Doing great. We got nice weather finally, getting warm outside. Too much pollen, but I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, my white car's been like yellow for the last several weeks. There's no such thing as a clean car in these trying times.
No, allergies are awful.
Terrible.
Absolutely.
Obliterated.
Paul, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you guys today?
Another day in the dream life, Sitting here talking with my friends about motorsport. What
Just
could be
talking
better?
to my friends.
Talking to my friends. Well, we had an exciting weekend full of racing. I know that with the Japan start time, none of us watched it live time because,
I did.
we're humans. You did?
I worked at the hospital overnight, so it was perfect and it wasn't that busy. So, boom, watched it live.
And,
That's
and
not
you
bad.
actually did watch it, not listen to it.
Yes, I watched it. Now, listen, there's nothing wrong with listening to a sporting event on the radio.
There's not.
We got to bring that back.
Bring back the radio.
I'm here for it.
This is a campaign. Bring back the radio.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you watched it live. Josh and I both watched it on Sunday. We were traveling, and so we watched it when we got home on Sunday. But we'll just jump right in because not a ton of breaking news coming out from the F1 world right now. So we'll just jump right into the race. We'll come to you first since you watched it live. What were your initial thoughts, reactions to the race?
I thought the race, I don't want to say it was a dud because it had some fireworks, but I think I was expecting more than what we got. Kimi is on another level. That kid, we live in a world where a teenager now leads the constructors, the world title championship. What a crazy thought. At 18, 19, however old he was, there's no way I had the maturity enough to handle that. And we have a teenager that's now leading one could argue, the pinnacle of racing. So good for him. Great for McLaren that they finally finished a race, let alone what Oscar was able to do. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But overall, it was good. I thought it was a halfway decent race, better than last year.
What about you, Josh? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, much better race than last year's. I think all of our racing is going to be better than the years prior, just a little more forgiving on the regulation side. But I will say, of the three races we've had so far, this was the least exciting, I think. I think it was the
Hi,
least
Yuki.
little
See,
cat.
he's getting big.
It is getting big.
Hey, bud. All right. Go do your thing.
Guest appearances brought to you by the Kitty Yuki.
Yes. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off with my cat's cuteness.
Where was I? I think that was the most boring of the races so far, which is, I mean, it wasn't a boring race by any means, but it was just the least entertaining of the three. Suzuka, I was hoping a little for better strategy options throughout the grid. One car started on a different tire than everybody else. One started on a hard, everyone else started medium, and so everyone was on the same strategy.
Bottas?
Yeah,
Valtteri.
Valtteri was on a different strategy, ran the hards first, but everybody was going to play the one stop, the medium hard. So I was a little disappointed by the strategy options. Really is now the time to do that?
Today is the
My dog.
episode brought to you by The Secret Life of Pets.
He's been
The
laying on the
Secret
couch.
Life of the Apex Pets.
He's been laying on the couch for 2 hours. What is he doing now?
He's got the energy now.
All right. Sorry, buddy. Okay.
He's like, I've got post-nap zoomies, Dad.
I know. And then look, he's got this chewed up worst toy I've got. Just shredded. Anyway.
I smell that thing through the camera.
He loved. That's his favorite toy. Sorry, dude. Okay. Other than that, I mean, we had a couple interesting incidents that I think we'll have to talk about a little more. I guess we're doing. Everybody's just getting involved.
Ideal.
Yeah, look at him. Oh, good
So
boy.
sweet.
Okay. I think we have to discuss, and we may want to wait till we get Meredith's thoughts here on our race, but I want to get into the Ollie Behrman incident. I think we got to get into that. And to be honest, I'll start off with just my briefest thoughts. I think the honeymoon phase is over with these regulations for me. You know, the rose-colored glasses are off, and now that we're kind of seeing them for what they, truly are, I think that there's some conversations that need to be had. So thought it was fun, but I wish for more.
I will confess, I dozed off a few times. It was like we had stayed up late and then got up early to go to the airport, came home, got food delivered. Like we were in our chairs by like 1:30 to start the race, 1:30 in the afternoon. And great start, was really excited. somewhere in there, I just kind of dozed off a couple of times. And I genuinely think that may be the first time ever that I've fallen asleep during an F1 race. And I think that speaks to kind of what Paul was talking about, that it was, there were some really good moments, some bright spots in there in the racing. And then there were some that was just like, kind of felt like, okay, here's another 10 laps, little power nap, 10 lap power nap. And then I'd wake up and I was like, okay, not much has changed. Yeah. But I think overall, I was really, really, really happy to see the performance of McLaren this weekend. Obviously, being both a McLaren and Ferrari fan, I was going to be pumped to see if McLaren could deliver a car this weekend and start and finish races and to be able to score points. So I was really happy with McLaren. It felt like Lewis did fall off on performance a little bit this weekend, but I mean, I don't see that as being it's back. I see that as being a performance issue over the weekend and plenty of time to get it dialed back in for Miami.
I wonder if it was a setup issue since,
yeah. I think that I saw something on social media that it was like they made some minor tweaks to the setup and that he gave feedback that he was not happy with that setup. Overall, I thought good, strong weekend again for McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari up in there. My bright spot of the weekend is Pierre Gasly scoring points for the third consecutive race. Like, I am just so impressed. I never in a million years thought we would see Alpine in points in the first 3 races of the season. And so those were definitely some high points for me. I was really, really excited to see that this weekend.
Not only to get points for Alpine, but to defend for like 25 laps against Max Verstappen. What?
It was, and then at the very last lap, they're like, is he gonna, and then he just goes and blocked. And I was like,
close the door. I was like, oh, get him, Pierre. Yeah. I was excited for him. The waving.
And then Max waving.
Max is unhappy.
I thought that was funny. It does seem like I was a little bit concerned after the first 2 races that we were going to kind of see Mad Max come back, where like when things are not going his way, he has been known to make some aggressive moves, and he seems almost like a sad point of just like accepting it. And I know he's made some statements about, like there's a lot of good time now before Miami for them to reset and see what they can change and get dialed in. I definitely expected to see more of a Mad Max on track, and it seems like he's almost at a point of acceptance of like, this just is what it is right now. We're about to have a month break. So be it. No point in stressing my life out. He was very clear about being happy in his personal life. And, he's like, I'm going to get to the season and see if it's worth it. I also saw something this morning that, he has that performance clause in his contract. And if he is not within a certain place in the championship battle, he gets to get out of his contract with Red Bull. And he does not have to notify them of that until October. That's a very long time that he has options to play the field or leave the field.
I don't think we're seeing Mad Max on track. I think we're seeing Mad Max off track. Did you see him kick that pillar during the media scrum?
I didn't see it happen. I saw the picture after, and there is a picture of him and he's looking like this. And then there's just the pillar behind him with the little hole in the wall at the bottom. And he's just like,
yeah,
I didn't see that. Like, what happened?
He just frustrated. He's answering questions, and then he turns around, kicks the pillar or whatever that is, puts a hole in it, walks away. Which
Yikes.
We'll get into here in a second on that.
Yeah, well, let's go straight to the Ollie crash, because I think that was the biggest headline coming out of this weekend. Like, great for Kimi, and I don't remember what it was called on the internet, but it's like the first time in history that somebody has completed a pole to win, conversion, and fastest lap 2 races in a row, which I thought was a really cool stat. So great bright spot for Kimi, but I think that the topic was Ollie and the safety and the crash. So Josh, we'll come to you first on this one.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest concern coming out of the weekend is listening to Carlos Sainz, who is the president of the Grand Prix Drivers Association. So he's kind of the spokesperson for the drivers, as far as like kind of, if you want to say a union. But mostly it deals in safety issues. Usually it's like week by week, but with this new regulation cycle, he's been pretty vocal about the potential for an incident like this. And I think watching that incident and thinking about the where it occurred on the track and the potential for that kind of closing speed to happen again, like that wasn't even a corner that you're usually to expect a car to be in a position like that, right? So I don't want to fault Franco at all, because I think he was just, in a bad place at a bad time, and there was nothing he could do about it other than, maybe to give a little more space on that outside. But I think the issue is the closing speed. I mean, they're saying it was like a 40-something kilometer an hour closing speed, which is ridiculous in a Formula One car. It caused Ollie to lose control and have a 50 G impact, which is horrible. And then, we saw him, hopefully, luckily he was not injured more than, a bruised knee. But, to see any driver get out of a car and limping like that is extremely concerning. And it's concerning that this kind of thing could happen again. And I hadn't considered it, but Carlos brought it up that with this runoff areas, Suzuka's wide open. It's a well-known established circuit. There's runoffs, there's gravel traps. Some of that inertia was taken away from the car by those means before the impact to the tire barrier. But at circuits where it's a street circuit, Las Vegas, Singapore, Baku, these tracks, Baku particularly scares me. There's a lot of really bad potential for closing speed, and there is no runoff. There is no protection. It is just immediately into a concrete barrier that could seriously injure someone. Think about like the first year we went to Vegas and Lando had that bad wreck down. I don't remember if it was in the race itself or it was in one of the sessions, but he ended up running through one of the straights and very hard into a barrier. And I worry that another incident like that could occur. And I think that something has to be changed. And the fact that I think the FIA understands that there is an issue when they're willing to make adjustments to qualifying, but not make adjustments to the race itself, that says to me that they're trying to double down on these regulations without changing anything. And I think that that's a dangerous stance to take. They have to be flexible. They have to be willing to make these adjustments for the sake of the drivers and the sake of the racing, or they're going to throw their head in the sand and something bad could happen. So I'm a little frustrated with the FIA's decision on not doing anything so far. So I hope this incident was a one-off and will change their mind and they will make an adjustment and we won't have to see anything like that again, to be honest.
I hope not. I think it's also, the crash was the big glaring thing, right? Like it's a horrible, horrible incident. He's lucky he walked away. He did with just a limp. There were even videos of him getting on the train, limping and like putting his suitcase in and limping really bad. And thank God he's got a month to recover. But now I think the one thing that we're also seeing Carlos and George speak up about is all the other little things that aren't as massive of attention of a grab as a crash is, and they're talking about the nerve damage that they're concerned about with the Aston Martin drivers. Like there's just so many other little things that have been easy to brush under the rug. And to your point now with something like this that you really can't ignore, how does the FIA not take action on that? What's the point of an FIA governing body? The whole point of the FIA is supposed to have international standards for safety of the drivers. And so I'm really glad that we have George and Carlos that are speaking up for that Grand Prix Drivers Association and really pushing and advocating for change. And I hope that they do not let up during this break, because I think that is what the FIA is hoping will happen, that they've got this break until Miami, that drivers are going to have this break and that the attention is going to go off of them, the heat's going to be off of them. And I really hope the GPDA doesn't let that happen and they continue advocating for the safety of the drivers. I mean, they're the only ones who are going to do it. So hopefully we'll see something. What are your thoughts, Paul?
Now that the rose-colored glasses are off, do we think they want it? F1's always been the place where they try to push the envelope in design and engineering. Do you think they got too overzealous when it came to this and tried to take too big of a bite of the apple, and now they're shooting themselves in the foot?
No, I don't think that. I mean, I think that there's always a concern with a new regulation that how far is too far? Did we go too far? But we've seen this before where adjustments are made throughout the season. Mid-season, late season, we could see completely different issues, right? Or no, we could have these issues could be rectified, right? And we could be moving on to the next issue. So it's unfair to say that this whole regulation set is just well too advanced, right? I think that there is a way to make it work. I think that the energy deployments and the way that it's deployed needs to be looked at. Maybe for the season, we don't do a 50-50 split. We go 60-40. 75, 30, whatever we can do to try and make this a little less, because we're right. The biggest issue right now is the drivers are having a hard time getting the car, and what I didn't realize is I thought the drivers were determining where they wanted to deploy the energy. The energy management is not done by the drivers. It is done preset by engineers and it's done by software. The drivers are completely unaware, and that's actually what kind of makes me more frustrated is the drivers are completely unaware when and where their energy is going to cut out. And I think that's even more dangerous, because if the driver himself cannot understand that, how can he mitigate it moving out of a racing line, letting an overtake happen when he knows he's out of power? And then you've got several drivers complaining of the car's just not recharging fast enough. They're having to let off and coast well earlier into corners. We saw 130R, which last week I sat here and said could be really fun of a corner. We could see racing in it, and you could bear the cars were losing power before they ever got to 130R to even see that be cool, right? So I don't think that the regulations are a complete, disaster or a complete wash. I think that there's adjustments that need to be made, but I think that the willingness to make them is what I'm fearful for. We've got Formula One itself is monitoring their comments on social media. They're deleting comments. They're hiding comments. They don't want the fan base to voice their opinions. Like when they posted Kimi Antonelli's pole position lap from qualifying, and they cut away right when the super clipping, for lack of a better word, but we all understand what it is, when the super clipping happened, and it's like, why are we hiding this? Everyone sees it happening. We can go back and watch it. The data's there. Everybody has access to the telemetry. It's not a surprise that this is happening. I don't know why we're trying to hide it so much. Is there a bigger issue that we don't know of that's causing this, that is making this untenable? I don't know. I'm worried about this a little bit.
Well, we got 35 days they have 35 days to prove that they're hearing and they're going to do something about it. Because, like you said, in street tracks, there's not a very big runoff, and that 50 Gs could possibly be life threatening had that happened in Baku or somewhere else.
And we haven't even seen these long straights yet, to where the super clipping could even reduce speeds even further. We have Monza. There's nowhere to recharge the batteries in Monza. What are we doing there? What are we doing in Baku? There's nowhere to recharge the batteries in Baku. The long straight will sap all the energy. I don't know.
I just saw on Twitter an hour ago, they're blaming Colapinto they're blaming the power unit in Colapinto's car for Ollie Behrman's crash. And I just don't seem to see how the math is adding up on that one.
Yeah, I don't see how the math adds up on that one. And also, it's like we've seen the videos. We've seen the onboards. Like, Colapinto did nothing egregiously, aggressively wrong. Like Josh said, there could have been a little bit more room on the outside, but that's if something had not happened, nobody would be talking about this, and nobody would have think that Colapinto did anything wrong. Like, this is not a Franco Colapinto issue. This is a regulation issue. This is something needs to change. This is the FIA needs to go back and feel like, what is a compromise that the drivers are okay with? Because I feel like I'm having flashbacks to like the Senna, the drama docuseries kind of show, where like this is what they were screaming for and advocating for, was like, this is currently not working and it's not safe and someone will die. And it will continue to be dangerous if we get to some of those tracks like that do not have extended runoffs and somebody goes into a concrete barrier at 50 Gs, somebody could die. And they have the opportunity to change that, and to change it early in the regulations, to be able to say, look, we hear you. Safety is the most important thing. We are going to try to make this right. Like, we'll come back. Here's what we're willing to do right now. And then we'll keep the door open for conversation if it is still putting drivers in jeopardy. They have to do that, I hope.
Yeah, they have to. Well, they have to do that. I don't think there is any they hope. I think that this is to the point where there has to be action.
Can the driver union that Carlos Sainz is a part of, can they play a bigger role in this? Does anybody know?
They don't have any like bargaining power. It's just
using the press and the media to advocate and make appearances, make letters, things like that, and speak to that,
which has not been well received in the past. And like within the last couple of years, it's been like last summer there was, what was the issue that was last summer that was it George made that
I can't remember exactly
what was that. He made a write-up and sent it to FIA. It was over a safety concern issue, and they just told him to go get fucked. So I don't. They
something tells me that's not the first time in George's life that he's been told to go get fucked.
Probably not, but they told him to go screw off pretty quickly, and so that makes me fear. It's like, it's great that these guys can voice their opinion, and I think it's good that they have an association. But how much power? Maybe.
But I also think we have to think about who is leading that, and it's Carlos and George that lead that. And Carlos gets out of the car, and like, granted, it's not like he had like a knock it out of the park weekend, right, where he should be talking about his performance and trying to score points and all this stuff. But for George to get out of the car and for all of his commentary after the race to be about something being wrong with his car. hey, can we look at that about, with Kimmy according to plan? And can we look at this with Kimmy? Can we look at my car? And it's like, I was really disappointed in George because I felt like he'd had a lot of growth in his leadership. And it's like the second something is not going his way, he becomes hostile and angry.
You mean
Like I
he
felt like the
becomes
quote that he
Karen?
said about Max is
Yeah,
him right now because Kimmy is winning. And instead of, hey, it is what it is. I didn't get a podium. What a bummer. I'll reflect with the team after. Let me take this opportunity to step into my role as the GPDA leader with Carlos and come up and talk about the safety. That's what he should have done as a leader, as one of the elected leaders for this committee. He should have stepped up in that moment and thought, you know what, sucks for me. I'll talk about my role in this race with the team later. I need to use my platform right now to talk about driver safety like Carlos did. That was my thought on that.
Yeah. Karen George is back at it again.
yeah, and it's like I get it. Like untimely safety car ruined your race, but I mean that doesn't. I mean that's why would you be concerned about your car being the issue? You saw the strategy and what happened causing this. This isn't a car issue. You weren't head to head with Kimmy, and you just didn't have this pace down the straights or whatever. It's like, buddy, you pit on the lap that safety car happened. Like that's ruin that ruins anyone's race. It's over.
Yeah, ask Ferrari. They know a lot about that.
They know a lot about that. They also know a lot about not pitting
Yeah.
under safety cars. Oh God, Ferrari.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, I think that overall, I'll be very interested to see what happens during this. God, I'm trying to remember which content creator posted it. Someone said, I always know there's going to be summer break for F1, and I didn't quite expect to get spring break from F1 this year. And that made me laugh so hard. And I cannot remember who posted it right now, but thank you for posting that. That was so funny. I'm hoping that they will use this F1 spring break to make some changes, have some difficult conversations. Maybe Carlos and George can get on the same page and prepare a joint statement from the GPDA and send it to them for consideration and review and say like, hey, we're open to coming and being a sounding board or for you guys to ask questions. I think that would be really, really powerful if they were to band together in this and say like, hey, drivers, what do you want us to like advocate for? And then advocate for that. But I'll be interested over the next few weeks to see what comes out. I would honestly anticipate that they will not put out anything until closer to Miami. That's my gut feeling.
They're not going to want to divulge a lot of that information this far ahead. There'll be too much talking around it.
And we can't have the people talking.
We cannot have anyone talking. That's why we...
God forbid there be talking in the pinnacle of motorsport.
No one must be dissenting on the pinnacle.
Paul's like, I ain't doing an accent.
No, I can't. I'm not that talented.
Yes, you are. You've got a face for radio, Paul. Remember?
I have a face for radio. God.
Any other thoughts on the race or any other standout performances or anything like that for you guys?
Yeah, Kimmy is the new Lando at race starts. So congratulations to Kimmy Antonelli at being the worst at race starts from the pole position, because that's pretty
Kimmy
damn bad.
ranked number 1 at worst race starts, for sure.
He admitted to this one. He had a clutch issue. He wasn't where he needed to be. And
do you see Toto, what Toto used to blame this, which makes no sense to me? Toto said, well, these new kids, we have to teach them how to use a clutch. They've never used a clutch before. It's like, okay, Kimmy's driven cars with clutches, I promise you.
Yeah, dude.
Supercars that have clutches. Also, it's not like a clutch in a road car, Toto. It's a button. It's a paddle on the back of the steering wheel. I mean, it's not like his foot's down there releasing a clutch. It's a double clutch. There's 2 different bite points. It's not the same thing, Toto. And that's enough.
It made me think back to something that there was never much follow-up on. Before the F1 season started, Kimmy was involved in a high-speed crash. Do y'all remember that? In Italy?
He wrecked his brand new...
Yeah, where has that story gone? I'd like to circle back to that and figure out... Because I remember them being like, oh, well, they could suspend his driver's license and that could have an impact. No, it wouldn't, would it?
It would not.
No, because he has a super license.
Which you can have
real quick though. Fernando finished the race.
He did. Which means I should have picked that for my predictions, because I would have gotten that one.
Yeah, you would have.
All right, let me ask this: Is anyone else getting tired of Max being all mopey about him not getting his way and the car not being as good?
No, people eventually they'll just stop asking him, because
if they have the same interview over and over and over again.
Because it seems to me like he's just throwing a temper tantrum because he's not getting his way and the car is not where he wants it to be. And it's just like, dude, grow up. Like, that's part of racing. You're not always going to have the rocket ship.
That's what he's had 4 years of. Well, but to be fair, I mean, Lewis kind of whined a bunch too at the end of the Mercedes era. So
And
maybe
the
this is,
beginning of the Ferrari era.
well, I mean, to be fair, that was a pretty shit car.
I still don't think the Max to Mercedes is dead in the water. I still think there is a chance that if this Red Bull stays a shitbox and the Mercedes delivers this year, I still think there's a chance that Toto outs George and brings Max in.
I think he's done. I think he's done altogether. I don't think he wants. If things don't drastically change for him, I think he's done with F1.
I
could
don't
see him
disagree.
taking
I
a
mean,
year
especially because
off.
he said that. He said things are going so well in my personal life. I just have to question, like, do I want this? But if we continue to see that Mercedes be the rocket ship McLaren was last year, and we see Mercedes dominance of all these races, you don't think that there's an ounce of Max that would go, damn, that Mercedes looks really, really good. And this is what the regulation cycle is going to be for a few more years. And maybe I don't want to go out this way. Maybe I should enforce my clause and see if there's an opportunity with Mercedes. I think Toto would kick George out in a second.
Oh, I think Toto's already made that phone call. Hell, look what Toto did with Horner and Alpine. It just came out yesterday or the day before that Alpine is not. They shut down Horner's 24% bid in buying it because Toto came in and did this. So Toto is just stirring the pot in the background. He loves being that asshole.
I'm just saying, like, I still think that there could be a possibility we could see a Max in a Mercedes if Mercedes continues to dominate and he thinks there could be an opportunity to win another championship in a car in F1. Now, if Max, let's say the landscape drastically changes throughout this season and Mercedes no longer has a super dominant car and, their other teams get acquainted, get things dialed in, and it's really competitive, then yeah, maybe so. Maybe he'd be like, Matt, I don't want this. But if Mercedes is absolutely dominating the season and there's an opportunity, I don't see Max wanting to walk away with cards still on the table. Is that the saying? Cards on the table, money on the table, something on the table, championships on the table.
I don't think Max walks. I don't think Max walks away. I don't see him pursuing like a full career in endurance. I think he would go to join teams for races here and there. But I think he is angry right now and he's throwing a temper tantrum. But I think that he has opportunity at every single team, whether they want to admit it or not. Somebody would be fired if they didn't take Max Verstappen. Max wanted to go to your team. So I think that he's got opportunities at Mercedes. I think he has opportunity at Aston still. So I think he's got several opportunities. I think he's also hopeful that Ford will figure out this powertrain, and Red Bull does tend to have some pretty good mid-season upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, think about last season. Total shitbox at the beginning, and then look where we were at the end of the season. So too early on, and only 3 races in, 2 less races for us to measure leading into Miami. So I think Miami will be very, very interesting. I'm really sad I'm not going this year.
And this is when, most teams bring their biggest upgrades. So it's going to be interesting to see what they all come up with and what product we get on track in 34 days or 35 days, whatever the countdown is for that.
Did you see the video that Bottas and Checo did about the upgrades they're bringing to Miami? They were like,
Yeah,
so how are you
something
guys
like
feeling
that.
about Miami? And they're like, oh, massive upgrades, right,
Yeah.
man? Massive. Like, I don't know. It was just like
And
15 seconds of pure, just them being themselves.
I think
And I
at one
loved
point,
it.
Valtteri goes, Mercedes, watch out. These upgrades, we're coming
Yeah.
after you.
Like, it was just so good. And just like, I feel like both of their senses of humor are getting to like play out. They're getting to drive with a little bit less pressure. They're a new team. They're just trying to get comfortable. They're trying to get the car dialed in. So I just really love that they're kind of having some fun with it in the media. I also loved that Lance came out and was like, his quote about like, yeah, me and Fernando were having a lot of fun in our own little Aston Martin championship in this race. Like, I thought that was funny too. So I'm glad to see that the drivers, while it may not be optimal conditions for them, some of them are trying to make light of it and making the best of the situations that they're in
But I know
have
Cadillac
upgrades.
came out as a team and said they had a very successful weekend. I mean, they finished 17th and 19th, but they were like, it was a great weekend. We got what we wanted. Car is moving in the right direction. So hopefully things kind of start going their way. There is one team that just is struggling, and that's Williams.
I know. What happened with Alex? Something must have happened when I fell asleep because he was like 2 laps behind.
Well, then it all came back from qualifying because he was like, "Where am I?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sure it's me, but I've been telling you guys this is what's going on, and you're not listening." Yeah,
They
there's
came
trouble in paradise.
they came out and said that they were using it as a practice session. They were just they were data collection and trying different strategies, different tweaks on the wings. So they kept going back to the garage, and he would go a couple laps down. He'd come back out and do a couple laps and go do a pit stop. So he was just he was just
Just
there.
out there for funsies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but James Valves came out said years ago we're focused on 26, so
Yeah.
26 is here.
James Valls
And-
lied to you. He meant 26.
Maybe you should go back to 2025.
Maybe you should have put your eggs in that basket because this basket's not very good.
Yeah,
Just fix this basket. It's the only basket we've got for the
I
next
think
few
he
years.
should
So
probably
fix-
shoot for 2030 when the next regulation cycle changes.
Yeah, just like all of a sudden we see Williams being like completely light years ahead. They're like, yeah, we're not zero.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out, but
Yeah, it is hard to watch right now, though. And I mean, I do really like Alex Albon and I like Carlos Sainz. I like them as a driver pairing. What I do hate is when drivers that make a really good driver pairing, they're still competitors, right? Like, I hate when the team dynamic of what's happening when one is performing and the other is not kind of ends up pitting the two against each other in the media. Like, there was just a clip of Alex and Carlos, and they were interviewing Carlos, and Alex was he had kind of stepped back so that they could ask Carlos the question. Carlos said something in this interview, and then Alex's face was just kind of like, he just kind of looks a little lost, and then everybody turned it into a meme, and it was like everybody realizing that, or Alex Albon realizing that Carlos Sainz is the lead driver, and they're going to prioritize him. And it's like, we don't have to create that narrative right now. Again, we are 3 races in, and Williams has been shitting the bed so far. So, they've just got to get it figured out. Who knows? We didn't expect them to deliver anything last year, and then look at them. So, maybe they're going to get a little good spring break or a good summer break in there to get some time dialed in and get some things figured out.
hey, McLaren got it figured out.
yeah,
Oscar
you
out
know
of
what?
nowhere finished
Very,
in P-
very good performance out of them. I mean, I was already impressed at qualifying, right? Because the car actually started. And then they got to the grid, and I was like, whoa, this is an improvement.
Both have
Pretty
really
neat.
strong starts.
Very, very good starts. Very, very, very good starts. Very impressive.
I
on that.
really think had we not gotten that safety car, I think Oscar could have won this race.
I really felt like he had the pace.
He absolutely
I
did.
felt like he had the pace, and I think he could have done it too. But that's biased.
But that's racing, right? Things don't always work out the way you intended, and you can't control what the other 21 drivers do behind you. And it's called racing, George. This is what happens.
Yes.
That's
But even
not
like
caring.
Lando was saying after the race, he finished the race and was like laughing, like he got 5th. Like that's incredible, like he's, especially given the previous race weekends, to finish 5th for McLaren. That's really great. And it's really great data to work off of and lean into. Like, we're only 3 races in, like, chill. But for Lando to be getting out of the car and laughing, and for him to still be so vocal about his concerns about the regulations and the cars, I appreciate him speaking up. I think the way that Lando is speaking up from beginning of the season to now, I wouldn't say has like matured a little, but I felt like at the beginning, to me, even though I am a Lando fan, it felt like the way he was speaking about it in the media was very whiny earlier on. Then I feel like this coming into this weekend, I feel like a lot of his media stuff was just more about like, there is an overwhelming sentiment by the drivers that there are things wrong with this regulation. I'm not just saying this because I haven't finished races. Like, I felt like he was just like professionally trying to scream, like, I am aware that it looks like I am just saying this because I haven't finished races. And I feel like for him to get out of the car in 5th and like be laughing, being like, yeah, and there's still issues. And like, we just saw what happened. I feel like we need more drivers to get on board with being vocal about it for the FIA to take this seriously.
Absolutely.
Well, any other closing thoughts on Japan before we do points recap?
I'm sure you heard it on the McLaren topic. I'll close that out. Did you hear Oscar's comment after he, was like congratulated over the radio? What did he say? He says, actually, these things are pretty good when they start.
I love that. See, like, just like making light of it. Like, yes, it's been a crappy start to the season for them, but like, make light of it, get dialed in, move on. I feel like McLaren does that pretty well. It's like somehow they have this magical amnesia potion because like even when papaya rules and things like that are going wrong, they still find a way to just like move forward. We move forward. I was really happy for Oscar this weekend. Very, very happy for our papaya poppy.
Yeah, I was glad he needed a win in his column.
He needed a win.
Yeah, he did. Coming back, especially like the brutal loss last season, having that kind of pulled out from under him. and then having, that brutal accident at his own home Grand Prix, and then going into this, having to didn't even start. It's just he needed something. He needed, and a podium's fantastic. I think I could have been happy with him to be a points finish, but
Yeah,
a podium's even better.
no doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt. Any other closing thoughts?
Nope. Once
Well,
again, the Japanese fans show out and do amazing stuff. That's the best part of the weekend, is just seeing all the costumes and all the stuff.
Sold out weekend. Joe sent me a really cool video of all these different hats that fans had on that they like made, and there was one guy's that was the engine. Super cool.
Hey.
People are so smart.
I didn't know that I needed this, but Jack Black needs to be at every race.
Love him.
His
Except for
energy-
it was fake. No, I love the whole Mario Kart thing, but it's bad
Also-
that we've been making fun of this as being Mario Kart for the last 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it was like
And then they bring Mario Kart.
the comment was like,
love
did F1 forget that they had told Jack Black and the movie people that they could come and promote their movie for Mario Kart at this Formula One race, and now everybody's making fun of it, and Charles is calling it. It's like no, was somebody in a back room oh my god, how are we gonna make this not sound terrible?
They're like, how did we miss this?
Yeah, what are the odds that happens? It was just perfect timing.
I don't know, but I
Yes.
feel like you should have to take a course. If you're going to be the person that waves the flag at an F1 race, you should have to take a course, and you should have to prove your worth and prove your demonstration that you can wave that flag eligibly and not
Why is there not
there
a
were
coach?
2 different ones last season where they just waved it in circles and the whole flag just wrapped up. We need these extravagant flag wavers,
I didn't watch him wave the flag. Did he do a
very
bad job?
very normal wave, very normal functional wave. He passes the test. Why are we still having people come and wave the flags at these races that cannot wave flags?
Can
Who's
anything be worse than the Apple CEO a few years ago when he was just like,
That's what I'm saying. We can't. We can't. There's so many more options.
Who was it last year? Was it somebody last year was leaned out over the track and waving the flag, and it was
Were they drunk?
No. It was a former Grand Prix winner, and I want to say I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. That'll be my homework. But he was
I don't know why you sound so fancy when you say Grand Prix. The Grand Prix winner.
well, he just came back from Europe a couple
right.
weeks
That's
ago, so he still
right.
that fanciness.
Can't take the Cotswolds out of Josh.
No, I'm about to have
No.
my afternoon espresso and hang out.
Think we'll have coffee and a cigarette or something.
Oh, that does
He
sound
won't-
good, doesn't it?
He walks around town with a shillelagh now because he's that guy in a tweed jacket.
Hey, I could see you rocking a barber jacket for sure.
I
Josh.
have a barber jacket. I love my barber jacket.
Yes.
I bought Courtney one in the Cotswolds, as a matter of fact.
I love that. There's nothing like getting barber in the Cotswolds.
It's not. It's so nice. I love my barber, actually. It's very nice.
Fantastic.
What a quality garment.
Lifetime piece for
Oh,
sure.
it is, absolutely.
Okay, so let's do some points recaps based on our predictions. So, Josh, your prediction for podium was Kimi George Lewis, and your shocker was double Williams points. Paul, you had George, Charles, Kimi, and then McLaren double points. And I had George, Lewis, Charles, double Haas points. So you both pick up a point for
I had
Josh for
no-
Kimi winning, Paul for McLaren double points. And then I picked up a point for Charles, but I get a -1 for my shocker prediction because I had double Haas points and we had the Ollie Bear DNF. So that negates me at 0. Our new current points total,
Hold on, time
Josh
out.
3,
time out.
Paul 2, Meredith 2.
I had no Williams points. Had neither
No
team-
Williams points. Oh,
I had
sorry.
Neither team in the point, or neither
so
car for Williams in the point. So I have an extra point.
Okay, no Williams points. Sorry, I thought it was a 2x. So it was okay. So this is confusing because I put X2, like neither of the Williams 2
Yeah,
instead of
neither of the
2X,
two.
which is what I put for double. Got it. Okay, so then Josh, that brings you to 4 points, and Paul and I cumulatively have 4 points.
Together, we're going to beat him.
Together, we can bring Josh down.
And
Okay,
I skipped
awesome.
the race.
With him missing a week.
Hey, just remember the hot lead that you got last year, and then who ended up winning last season?
Well, because I started
Who did?
taking crazy
Who won? Hold on, who won last
guesses.
season?
Y'all did. I'm not mad about it.
I did. I won.
I hope we get to the point where I can start taking wild guesses this time.
Just watch me. I'm going to be the Red Bull of this points prediction season. I'm going to start off easy, cool, calm, nothing shocking, and then all of a sudden later in the season I'm just going to nail my predictions. Okay, so Grim points total, 4 for Josh, 2 for Paul, 2 for Meredith. So, Paul, I know you were working this weekend and I was traveling, so I have not watched the IndyCar race or the NASCAR race, but I know the results as I spoil everything that is good in life by opening social media the second that I wake up. So, what were your thoughts on the IndyCar race, Paul?
Honestly, I heard it was kind of not as exciting as everybody thought. Congrats to Christian Lundgaard. He came in second.
Hell of a race.
I mean, I didn't watch it, but from what I've been able to find on social media, had that team not had an issue in the pits, he could have possibly overtaken Alex. And once again, Alex Palou wins. Good for him. Somebody's got to dethrone that man.
Somebody needs to give him a seat in Formula One.
Yeah.
No, I don't see that happening.
I feel like that ship sailed. Back to our sailing analogies. I don't know, maybe not, but I feel like after all of the drama with Zach Brown and McLaren and all of that, I don't feel like a Formula One career transition is in the near future for Alex Palou. I think people would rather wait to see how Colton Herta does in F2 to see if he can get promoted to F1, to see what could that transition look like from an Indy car driver to an F1 car driver. And I think Colton Herta has the better shot at that than Alex Palou. Although I would love to personally see Alex Palou in an F1 car. I really like him in IndyCar, and I think he's needed in IndyCar. Let's talk about Graham Rahal. Rahal Letterman Racing got third. Like, what? Like, RLL Racing has been off the radar without being disrespectful. They've been off the radar. So for him to come in third is absolutely incredible. David Malukas up there in fourth, Kyle Kirkwood in fifth. So I think some of the same finishers up top that we've seen so far, but Graham Rahal was my surprise in the results that I saw. And Santino Ferrucci up in eighth, also a shocker for me. I think Santino Ferrucci is a little like, to me, Santino is kind of like if Yuki and Liam had a child and they drove an Indy car. That is Santino Ferrucci. He's a man of the people. He shotgunned that beer last year after that race, which was incredible. So I don't know. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights, but that is one that I'll be excited to rest up and watch. It's Tuesday night men's league, so Joe will be gone at golf, so maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Also, awful showing by Pato. I mean, 19th.
Don't want to talk about it.
I mean, he just said the car had no power, no pace. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't even defend that. What is it? That Chevy Aero McLaren car is just awful. And he even said he had the same, very similar setup to
Similar
Christian
setup.
Lundgaard.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Interesting.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Christian did so well. And Pato just did so.
I mean, Lundgaard is absolutely delivering this season. Let's see where he falls in the standings.
I think he's third and Pato is sixth.
Yeah.
Kyle Kirkwood leads the standings by 2 points.
Yeah, that is crazy how close they are.
Absolutely. So,
and then Malukas is just 5 behind Lundgaard, so that's going to be tight. A lot of season left, though.
Yeah, I need that. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if Pato is that bad or is that car just that bad, because it seems like Pato is only good in ovals, and it's just I don't know what that team needs of new. I don't know. It's just
I don't know either. Only time will tell. And then I did not watch the NASCAR race, but I did watch the NASCAR highlights. I wish every motorsport series would do this, and Apple is starting to with the 30-minute recap, which I love, because I love the 30-minute recap from NASCAR that they do, because 4 hours is a long time to watch a NASCAR race. I love a NASCAR nap. I love a little break in there, but they do like a 17-minute version, like 15 to 17-minute version, and then a 30-minute version too of the recaps, and I absolutely love that NASCAR does that. First call out from the NASCAR race was the Bubba Wallace Carson Hocevar accident.
Yeah.
You mean Sabrina Carpenter's boyfriend? Carson Hocevar?
Like, but Bubba just drove his car straight into the back of Hocevar. He was just like, I don't give up. And he just straight into the back, and Hocevar just immediately goes sideways. I was like, oh,
what's up with Bubba? All I've heard of him this season is just being kind of a loose cannon and just doing stupid shit. So
I would imagine that there is I love Bubba. I do. But I would imagine that there is a part of him that he was the face of 2311 racing for a while. And I would imagine that there is some competition between, him and Tyler Reddick having the season he's having. I would imagine that is weighing on Bubba mentally. A lot of season left, but hopefully Bubba can get it together. I really, really hated this weekend for him. Hated that.
He's gotten so close too. He's doing pretty good in the standings, I think.
Yeah, he's picked up a lot of really good stage points.
Well,
so
he was higher up, but he's 11th now. But Tyler Reddick is running away with it. It was I watched a little bit of it. Denny really much ran away with it until the very end, and he didn't have enough towards the end when it mattered the most. So
yeah, but I really like Chase Elliott, and we were just talking about Chase Elliott last week, and he's one of those that you don't really hear a ton about a lot, and so I was really excited for him to pick up that win. I really like Chase Elliott. And I really like Denny. I'm not the biggest Joey Logano fan, so anytime he's on the podium, I'm kind of like, oh, Joey,
Yeah.
But so, I was really, really happy for Chase Elliott in Martinsville. Oh my God, I'd love a grandfather clock. Just classic.
I'm not a big fan of the short tracks just because it's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on. I like the short tracks. Sorry, my work phone is ringing. But
I really like the short tracks. I think it's a lot of fun and a lot of entertainment.
But I know, is it next weekend or the weekend after that? They're going to Josh's neck of the woods. They're going to Bristol on Sunday, April 12th.
Bristol, baby.
I love Bristol.
Yeah. That's going to be a fun track.
Yeah.
Bristol's always
One
fun.
day I'll get there.
One day.
One day.
One day this podcast will pay us to go to races.
One day. One day.
That day could be tomorrow.
What?
I said that day could be tomorrow.
It could be tomorrow, Josh. That's right.
Positivity.
He's still riding some hopium highs.
I'm a
Josh is just a glass half full kind of guy.
Well, we do have the F1 break. It's until Miami, but we do still have some racing coming up. I am going to be out of town for 2 weeks, so it will just be Josh and Paul holding down the fort. I thought that it would be a really good opportunity for us to kind of do some highlight episodes. Josh took an amazing trip over to Europe, and he got to spend some time over at the Silverstone Museum and the F1 arcade. And so we thought that would be some really good content for an episode for him to talk about his experience, the thoughts, and any motorsport news. And then one of the other weeks, we had talked about Paul doing some info on the Freedom 250 for IndyCar. So, and by then, we'll have had other races with IndyCar, NASCAR, and probably some breaking motorsport news that will need to be discussed.
There's a WEC race in there somewhere too.
The WEC season opener is the weekend of the 18th, I believe, April 18th. So when I am back on the 20th, that is when we'll get to debrief WEC season opener for Imola. We'll have IMSA Long Beach and NASCAR in Kansas. So that'll be a really good comeback episode when I get back. And
nice. We're also going to give our insight on the Drive to Survive season that just came out.
Yeah, and I can share you. I will share my thoughts ahead of time. That way you can let me know if it contradicts any of your points of view or if we're in alignment.
I'm sure we'll have something to argue about.
Yes, but it'll be a fast 2 weeks while I'm gone, and then we'll be reunited.
Yes, Meredith is going to Tahiti, and because I am jealous, I hope it rains the whole time.
Ooh, you know what? It actually does look pretty rainy.
It's that time of year.
I was looking at it.
I need you to stop being such a nice guy.
Oh, I'm not, because I'd be mad if you told me I was going on a trip and you hoped it was bad weather and it was bad weather. I'd blame you.
Yeah. It's looking pretty rainy, guys.
Well, hopefully afternoon shower.
Yeah, like
thunderstorm,
beach showers. But so we fly into Tahiti, and then we're in Tahiti Sunday through Wednesday. And then we leave on Wednesday, and then we cruise around the islands there. So, I only looked up the weather in Tahiti. I don't know how far apart these islands are, so we'll see. But at least, please let there be good weather in Bora Bora. I want to swim with the dolphins and the stingrays, and I just want good weather in Bora Bora, if nowhere else.
Can you do me a favor and flip off a stingray when you see it? R.I.P.
Yeah, for Steve.
Yeah, R.I.P. Steve.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for you.
We haven't forgotten.
Don't forget it. Stingray.
Yeah, fuck you, stingray.
But in a polite way that's like, hey, this is from Paul, not from me. Don't come for me.
Yeah. Don't kill me.
Yeah. Hey, this is from Paul, not me. I'm just the messenger.
But real quick, fuck you. Hey, you're cute though.
I did when I was signing up for that excursion. I was like, do I want to do that?
I hear they're pretty
dangerous.
docile for the most part. They're not really meant to attack. I don't know.
Look, I am paying for the excursion regardless. If I get there and decide I don't want to get in the water with those fucking things, I'm not going to. It's my money. I'll spend it how I want to.
Hey, listen, don't do a bunch of acid like he used to do. So
fret not. I won't. I will not. This is a work trip. I'm going to be taking customers and stuff and, wake up, have breakfast on the boat. Hey, you want to go to the pearl diving excursion with me today? Hey, you want to go swim with dolphins? You want to go on the island discovery tour? Be fun.
No,
Yeah.
I want to sit by the pool and drink. Thanks, lady.
Just don't. If
Which
you're
is
gonna
also
drink,
fair game.
If you're gonna drink, just don't drive an SUV and roll it over, Tiger Woods.
I'm not. No, it's like
He
weird. Like
didn't
we're on a
drink. He
cruise
was
ship, and then
stone
we
cold
just go
sober.
into the port.
Liquor
He
sober.
was just on every painkiller you can think of.
He had some undisclosed white pills in his pocket.
They were hydrocodone.
That's
Percocets.
whatever. You know what? I know there were
Allegedly.
hydrocodones.
I hope you know that I thought about all episode long how I can put a Tiger Woods quote in there. So it was kind of a cheap way of throwing it in there.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm really proud of you for sprinkling in some of your golf knowledge here.
that's good.
That's all I know. It's
I'm proud of
a
you.
stupid sport.
Well, you can start watching now because it's the most Masters weekend. So
Yeah,
Is
when
that this
does the
week?
Masters officially start?
it's the weekend of the 11th and the 12th. So the 9th.
Gosh, I'm going to have to pack a Masters shirt for this trip now.
I do like that event they hold before. What is it? That Wednesday event where it's like
The par
they
3
get the little
contest.
kids. Yeah, the part 3 contest. Oh, that's pretty cool. I do enjoy watching that.
Yep. I will be in Augusta on Saturday and Sunday.
Are you going this year?
I got
That's
tickets.
awesome.
Say hi to my dad. He'll be there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
will.
my cousin is one of the senior accountants at Augusta National, and each year that she works there, I think she gets like one more ticket or something, and so my dad gets to go this year, and he's very excited.
Nice. That's
They
cool.
just have a lot of unrealistic rules and expectations for their patrons to go and watch.
It's a
What do you
country
mean?
club from like a
Yeah,
long time
oh my
ago.
There's a dress code. You can't have a cell phone. There's
Yeah.
so many just weird rules behind it. I was like, that's
There are
dumb.
dress codes at every golf course, just so we're clear. I actually
Yeah.
really appreciate the cell phone thing. If I didn't know that was a real thing, but
So it's neat. Although I
yeah,
do.
I think that's really cool. Like I didn't know that was a thing, but man, what a cool thing to go and experience it, and then just be like, no, you're just here and you're present in the moment. Like I think that's cool.
I will say,
Yeah, I think
I
guys-
thought you could bring like a disposable camera. Apparently, you cannot. I thought you could bring
Uh-huh.
a disposable camera only on Thursday or only on the Wednesday practice round. Can you bring a disposable camera?
This is the only camera you need right there.
So are you watching rounds or are you just watching? Are you watching the first round on Thursday?
Yeah, I'll watch it from home.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to watch it there.
Oh no! We're driving. We work on Friday and Sunday. I'm taking back half on Friday, and then I'm driving up there on Saturday morning, going to the Saturday afternoon, and then going to Sunday.
Well, that'd be cool.
That's gonna be so fun.
Pack your sunscreen because you are white.
Joe and I have been doing lunchtime tanning where we go out and sit out in the sun for like
Nice.
15 minutes at lunch every day. Cause I'm like, if we show up to Tahiti next week with this Elmer's glue, I'm going to be the color of Josh's shirt. So we did lunch tanning.
That's
Paul, you just wait
hilarious.
till mid-June when I'm a nice golden brown from being on the golf course every day.
But your tan will stop right here.
It'll be like right here, and then my arms, and then my face, and that'll be it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you get the hat line?
Yeah, but I also wear a big brim one most of the time in the summer when it's like real hot. So,
Knew you would.
oh yeah, I'm the big brim hat guy.
They're my least favorite. We got to get you one of the straw ones.
Okay, I'd wear a
Those straw ones are so dope that you can just like change the band out.
Yeah,
But I don't know why when I think of those, I think of like the little brown Leatherman's golf shoes and the little capris. Like I don't know what those things all go together in my mind. Well, as per usual, we've digressed. It's
They
what
fall
we
off
do
the
best.
rails.
Ship
So,
has crashed.
Let's get this ship back on the train tracks and close this out. The boys will be ready for you guys for the next 2 weeks. I will be rejoining on the 20th where we will have lots of fun stuff to talk about. We will have WEC, we will have IMSA, we will have NASCAR, we will have IndyCar, but the boys will be holding it down while I'm gone. Until then, everybody have a fantastic week and we will all see you all soon. Thanks everybody.
Take care, guys.
Bye.